clap this up right here. It's one of my new favorite series right now, HB.
Okay.
I love it for so many reasons.
Talk to us.
I love it because of the character development that we're starting to see in the character Riri. I love it that it's Marvel.
Yeah.
But what I like is some of the people, the architects of this series and who they are when I speak about some of the EPs on the series, some of the writers, the directors, Sam Bailey, Angela Barnes, Shanaka Hodge, one of the main writers of this. These are black women,
Beautiful.
right? And my brother Ryan Coogler, his amazing wife Zinzi, and all of these
Shout
people
out to them as well.
are
Yes.
affiliated into this project. And Shanaka is someone who has done poetry. We saw her on Def Poetry Jam years ago. Most importantly, though, Shanaka is from my home soil, town business. She's from Oakland, California.
Come on.
That makes a lot of sense, Tracy G.
Hometown pride.
Hometown pride. And when I learned about the plot of this of Ironheart, this new series, and who's starring in it, I got really excited. So much so I asked my good friend LaRoyce Hawkins about the young lady who he's co-starring with as her dad.
Yep.
I'm talking about Dominique Thorne, and she's here with us today. Give her a big round of applause. She only hits home runs.
Women to Women Winning Wednesday.
Oh, let's
She's
go.
never struck out.
Let's go.
She only hits home runs.
Let's go.
Judas and the Black Messiah.
Scorpio
That's a
power,
home run.
Scorpio power,
The
Scorpio
Bill
power,
Street can talk.
Scorpio
That's a home run.
power.
Wakanda forever. That's a home run. Trinidad, stand up.
Big Trinidad and Tobago. Amen. What an intro. Oh, my goodness.
I'm excited for you.
Hey.
This is huge.
Thank you.
This is big.
Amen.
You feel it?
I sure do. Nope.
That's
Yes, I
dope.
sure do.
That's dope.
This is it, man. You're in by the way, Dominique, I don't know if you know this, but Heather and I are also a part of the MCU, you know.
I knew that was coming for some reason. And like you put co-star with yourself for sometimes for the wrong reasons.
Oh, man.
We did co-star in Luke Cage. I don't know
Come
if you
on. That's
we
crazy.
were there.
Facts.
We were there.
Yeah, that's
That's
insane.
big. You need any advice on how to navigate
Wow.
through
You
Marvel?
know what? I appreciate that because, we got to stick together
We gotta stick together,
in this
right?
journey.
Dominique.
We do indeed.
Sway and I did 2 episodes. One was visual, the other was audio.
Hey, you in there.
You call somebody else. Don't
You
call
are in there.
Dominique is a shit.
I appreciate the support.
No,
All right.
absolutely.
I'm going to take the support no matter what.
Okay.
I want to ask you about your well-being first before we talk about this.
Let's go.
You know, you have a lot of energy around you right now, and
Yeah.
you've had for quite some time,
Yeah.
right? And when you take on a role like this, it could be heavy, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot that's weighing on it. But how are you personally? How's your well-being navigating this reality?
Man, that's a good way to put it. A lot of energy around you. But to be honest, I feel like I've always had a lot of energy around me. And it started with my family. You know, you shouted out Trinidad and Tobago. And anybody who knows any Trini knows that that's pure energy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel very fortunate and very grounded to have come up in an environment of very conscientious and considerate people, a family that was very, very big on how you show up in the world, how you show up in your home, how you show up for the people who love you. And in turn, obviously, they've shown up for me in this moment, and it meant a lot to have my family in the room right now. My family come down to California, fly in from Trinidad. Friends come from across the country to really celebrate this moment because those are the people who have been with me on the journey.
Wow.
So no matter what, before I even get to what's going on with whatever I might be a part of in the world, like in my home and my heart, everything is great.
Good.
And that's everything for me. So
Wow.
I'm cool.
Hey, I like
I'm
that.
cool. I appreciate the check-in.
Listen, I care. Trust me, I care beyond the screen.
Amen.
I care beyond the screen.
Amen.
Playing this role, I was telling you off mic, I would love for you to kind of break down, for those who haven't watched it yet, what Ironheart is about. But one of the things I like about it is your character Riri represents so many other people who don't always have who don't have representation, don't have a platform. This is a young black girl who is genius. She's brilliant, right? She has a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
She has a big vision in how she sees the world, but she doesn't necessarily have the resources to bring those visions to fruition. But what does this role, you played a lot of great roles, but what does this role mean to you?
Oh, man. I remember the kind of deciding factor, the thing that took me over the hump to like say yes to this insanely incredible offer was really thinking about that representation and thinking about my baby brother who is about to turn 9, who's much younger at the time, thinking about, you know, the nieces and nephews to come along the way, thinking about the younger generation, like thinking about the me that I might have been had I seen something like this, or if it was an option in the mix of black girls who were, you know, representing for us at the time that I was coming up. And that's really what won me over. I'm from a Marvel family, so I was excited about the, you know, oh my God, like to meet Oz, you know, but ultimately it was the folks that it would touch. And I think playing Riri has only continued to magnify just how important that is. We've gone to a couple elementary schools and colleges on this press tour, and it's beautiful to see young girls. We just went to the Griffin Museum of Science and Industry over in Chicago, and we had a sit-down roundtable discussion Q&A with these young girls in their Girls in STEM program at the museum, and they had been doing workshops all day. And then Lyric Ross, shout out to that talent and that beautiful young woman, Lyric Ross. The two of us, she's also from Chicago.
Okay.
Went there, sat down, had a beautiful conversation with them, and you can see the excitement, like the hope in their eyes. Like, oh my God, like she does what I do. Like, or I'm also interested in this thing, you know, like, because they're at that age where they're figuring it out. And so to have something that's aspirational, even if it's just, oh, like, she got some fly stuff on, you know? Like, whatever level it is that folks can see something and feel excited by her and want to lean into the truth of who they are. I think that has been the best thing to come out of playing her so far.
All right, man. We got Dominique Thorne here, Heather. I'm going to hog it for a second.
I know you are. It's okay. I'm used to you, Sway. He's a Cancer. Yeah.
Cancer rising.
For those who don't know what Ironheart is, can you explain this series?
Man, excuse me. When we last saw Riri in Wakanda Forever, that was really the first time that she is being forced to recognize that her actions have consequences. You know, she's there with all of that brilliance. She's at MIT. And wanting to really leverage her time at that school to make all these incredible visions come to light, not thinking that anyone else in the world would care, far more to notice and be paying attention to her the way that we clearly saw that they were. So now she is forced to go back home and really sit with the ramifications of this potential. She's been woken up to it in a way that she cannot overlook. She's kind of forced to really lean into the truth of who she is in order to figure out who this Ironheart hero person thing is gonna be. She got a close-up look at what it takes to lead a nation when she was watching Shuri make these big decisions, and now it's really time for her to make her own big decision. And it starts at the home. It starts with going back home.
Wow, this is great. You're doing great, by the way. You're really breaking this
cheering
down.
her on.
I'm cheering her on.
For our first interview.
Well, there's Robert Downey Jr., right? Iron Man. Famous character, famous actor. Said some really great words towards you. I'm going to read the quote. I know you've heard it, but I'm going to read it, all right? He says, "Miss Thorne, I couldn't be happier than seeing you bringing Riri Williams to life. Iron Man loves Ironheart."
Wow.
What had you ever met
So
him?
sweet.
Only digitally. We've had a couple FaceTimes for sure. That was a beautifully sweet surprise for him to kind of, pop in on that interview.
Yeah.
And just continue to push the love. But yeah, just talking to him over FaceTime was really the extent of us getting to know each other. And he has been nothing but supportive from the inception. Kind of, how we started this interview. Like, probably the individual who understands exactly what it is and what is required to take up this weird, very specific kind of to do this very weird kind of specific genre work, that is the superhero genre, but still want to make it real and grounded and give people something genuine and authentic and rooted to hold on to as well. And of course acknowledging that it's gonna be a lot different than whatever his walk was, even with all that considered. So it's been brilliant,
It's important too, because being members of the MCU.
Yeah.
Toot your horn. You better toot your horn. I know that's right.
2 episodes.
Yeah.
What I learned though is that the fans of the MCU are very particular.
Oh yes, they are.
Right?
Yeah.
Like if something ain't right,
hello,
they're in the streets.
You gonna know,
right? So him doing that, right?
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. sending that quote, that confirmation, really helps, right?
Absolutely. I mean, even just like mentally, you know, it's nice to have that confirmation. Like, okay, word, I'm not tripping. I'm not bugging. Like, okay, cool. Yeah.
Dominique Thorne. Okay, I'm gonna let Heather get in and the rest of the team.
And welcome again, Dominique. We're excited to have you. But you mentioned this word that I love. I love confirmation. Excuse me. I love confirmation. I love testimonies. I love process of it all. And I don't want to assume, but it sounds like you said that you were offered a role, so maybe you didn't particularly have to audition for this one. But if you don't mind sharing, what was the process like for you for your first audition, or maybe an audition that you went out for that you didn't get versus the one that you went out for and you got? What were those processes like for you?
Oh, just like in life, like throughout the ride?
Throughout your ride, yeah. I'm curious about, because you work hard. You work just as hard for the ones that you don't get.
Facts.
That's
true.
Versus the ones that you book.
Yeah.
So tell us about your process if you don't mind sharing.
No, I don't mind at all. I care a lot.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's exhausting.
You can take it all so personally, yeah.
But, I feel really fortunate, again, like, choosing to lean into the gratitude in all of it, which is not always easy. It's not easy most of the time.
Right.
But I think if you can you can remember how essential gratitude is and always find your way back to it, I feel like you'll be cool, you'll be good. And for me, I was really fortunate looking back to have gone to college and not cheated myself of that experience because I was forced to put my heart and my attention elsewhere because I cared about this a lot. And I cared about it in high school. Your emotions be all over the place. And all raw when you're in high school. You just getting to know what these emotions are.
Yeah. You don't know how to control them.
For real.
Yeah.
They control you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I really think going to college and still caring, but having other things that required my energy and required my focus really helps to kind of temper that out and kind of balance it for me. And I got to the point where I went to university outside of the city. I'm from Brooklyn. I went to high school in the theater district, so I'm going up and down Broadway every day doing this thing. And when I went to college, I was upstate, away from the city, and it was suggested the best way for me to stay in touch with the arts community, with this acting thing, if I want to do it, is to do auditions through tape and just send it down. And this is pre-pandemic, before everything was through tape.
Wow.
It was a little bit more of a novel idea to like make an audition tape and send that down consistently.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And so that's what I was doing in between classes, and I didn't focus on the performing arts for my degree, so I was really focused on other things. And whenever I had a chance, I was making time to do these tapes, like sometimes multiple tapes a week. And Heather, I'm gonna tell you, like if I did multiple takes a week for the 4 years that I was in university, the one yes that I got throughout that 4-year period alone, not counting auditioning before that or anything after that, was Beale Street. There are so many no's.
Girl.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
There are so many more no's than the yeses that I've gotten in my life. But again, going back to being very grateful about the tribe that I come from, Big TNT, I was really taught to show up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's important. Thank you for sharing that. It's so important that the people who listen to this show, and particularly the people who are now going to see this conversation, hear that, because I think because of social media we were talking about earlier, I think people think your whole life is a yes. Like everything's just here. It's so easy because we're seeing such micro versions of everybody.
Absolutely.
You know,
That
you
highlight
just think,
reel.
oh, you popping, it's popping.
Right.
But nobody knows this side.
True.
And how you got here. So thank you for sharing, because there are so many no's, and it can be extremely discouraging and sometimes depressing even.
For sure.
I'm gonna take it to New York momentarily, but when you were talking about it, it made me think of the scene where in Ironheart y'all mentioned my name, so I came back to that.
Oh, wow.
Hey now, big MCU family.
I'm MCU family.
What are we gonna do with you?
No,
Sway?
there's
Go ahead.
in the episode, there's
Okay.
a point where Riri, Dominique's character, is talking to her AI friend, Natalie, who became my AI through some complications when she was building the Ironheart suit, and they're
Right.
going back and forth in dialogue. And Riri says something to Natalie, the AI character, Heather, and the AI character says,
Houseway.
I'm in there, kid.
Kanye gonna be calling about his royalties. Kanye gonna try to sue the computer.
Gotta sue the computer.
Kanye about to be mad as hell.
But it's not about me. It's about the writing.
Right. There you go. I see what you did.
Sure,
Like that, Mike.
Sway.
It's not about
Sway.
me.
Sure, Sway.
It's about Shanaka Hodge, right?
Well
It's
played.
about Sam Bailey. It's about Angela Barnes, and these moments couldn't be written in unless the writers are in tune with the culture, and that's why it's so important that Riri's story is, to me, told through the lens of a black writer, right?
Yes.
Would you agree? Would you want to comment on it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely that. You know, throughout the press run, I've had a few people ask what it felt like to step in this role and know that I would have to advocate for, you know, this young black girl that everyone is wanting to bring to life in this project. And if I can't even explain how it felt to say, like, well, actually, our executive producer, there are several black female executive producers, and our head writer is a black woman from Oakland with roots in Chicago. Our director is from Chicago. Our cast is also from Chicago. So by the time whatever point it is that's on the table has come down to me, it's already gone through several checks of people who are all focused on the same mission. And that's a different type of work, to not have to fight for that in order to do your job. And that allows for just a little bit more freedom, you know, and also a bit more comfort to feel like, oh, all right, I ain't got to worry about that. I can focus on my lines.
Right.
That's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's great, man. When you see them, tell them I said thank you. All right, let's take it to New York.
Dominique, it's so good to have you on the show, me lady. It's so good to just, rise you high, boo, because you are killing it.
Thank you, man.
And I think one of my favorite parts of you playing Riri is the fact that you guys both share such high intellect, brilliance. You're very, very humble, Dominique, but I got to tell our citizens, this is a woman that went to Cornell University. Okay, when she's talking about college, upstate New York, Cornell University. And I read that you majored in human development and inequality rights. And I just wanted to know, one, how did that major and minor help to inform you as an actress? And then also for anyone who is just hearing human development for the first time, can you share exactly what was a part of the curriculum?
Yeah, I would say it felt like the more academic foundation to the things that I was learning at the performing arts high school that I went to. So we were studying like Meisner technique, which is like one branch of acting technique. We were doing movement for the actor, voice and speech devising, acting technique, like all of these classes focused on the instrument and the craft in high school. And then going over to college, I was so restless because I'm used to, you know, standing up and moving for like so many hours of the day, and to sit at a desk in a lecture hall and study things that aren't lines was a lot, you know. And I'd started off studying immigration legislation, probably for obvious reasons, but felt that that just wasn't the right fit to really get to like lean in and lift up the human experience in the way that I was interested in. And human development felt like the next best step for me. There's several concentrations that folks can take with human development. It is exactly as it sounds, how people develop. For me, the concentration that I leaned into was social and personality development. Other folks might lean into the neuroscience behind it all, so leaning into how your brain develops. Within social and personality development, excuse me, the focus was really on how our environments, how our families, how our like internal and external relationships form the way that we think, the way that we receive information, the way that we receive love, the way that we give love, the way that we communicate. So truly how your personality is formed and informed by your circumstances throughout the lifespan. So from infancy to gerontology, which is old age. And that to me felt like the academic foundation for a lot of the work that we would do in scene study class, like breaking down a scene and wanting to understand what this person's motivation is and what the script tells us about their family and where they come from. Like now here I am reading research papers and going through the DSM-5 to really get the academic foundations of where all of that comes from. People who've been looking at people and studying people. There was a brief moment when I thought I would be an anthropologist, and so all of that just felt like it was funneling into a focus and an appreciation for the human experience.
Yes.
And how we come to be who we are. And I think where I ultimately have chosen to lean in as an actor is in how we represent the experiences that have made us who we are. And what that representation does for other people who have not had your experience, what it means to sit in an audience and allow someone the opportunity to be changed, not saying that they must or that there's anything wrong with how they are, who they are when they come into the theater, but just giving them the option to lean into a new experience, even if it's just for the sake of levity, but especially if it's for the sake of learning something and growing as a human being. That's ultimately what I chose to lean into from the degree.
Come on now.
Disney, we got a winner. Marvel, we got a winner.
Yep.
Mike, we got a winner, Mike.
You definitely got a winner. Dominic, I love what you just said right there. I love that lately we've been leaning in a lot to college. And something I had wanted to ask you was something, as a fellow Greek, I'm a Kappa. I was watching Watch the Yard, and I love that Watch the Yard put your chapter of Delta to give you a tribute. And that just made my heart smile. And that made me think about my chapter and what that would make me feel if my chapter was to do that. So I'm just curious, how did that make you feel in that moment? Because it brought such joy to me.
Oh my gosh, shout out to the magnificent Mu Gamma chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Oh my goodness. That was so sweet and so precious and so grounding because, you know, college feels like it was so far away, but also always so close at home. You know, so many of my friends to this day that I see on the everyday that came out here are from college. And I think, you know, you get so focused on the job or whatever it is that's in front of you that you not forget, but your focus just shifts. And I think seeing that video was it just took me all the way back and reminded me the community is still growing, you know, like, and they're still watching and loving and supporting, and the chapter, of course, has been so supportive. So to see that from the Neos was really, really nice.
And the rest
really,
of the D9 community in the comment section too was showing you so much love.
Yeah, exactly.
Cheers to D9.
Exactly
Cheers
that.
to you, Dominique. Very
Cheers
proud of
to
you.
us.
Congratulations.
What was that,
Cheers to
Mike?
the
The what
D9.
9? What number 9?
The
What?
D9.
D
D as in
what does
Delta
the D
for
stand
Dominique. Yeah.
The divine
Divine
nine.
9. Okay, I'm
Yes.
my sisters, aka brothers of Sigma. So I'm familiar there, Dominique.
And you in the MU.
I'm an MC.
Yeah.
I'm in the
Big
MCU.
you know.
You know?
What? Big MCU.
You fight? All right. Anthony Ramos, good friend of mine. He and I used to host the Spike Lee summer parties
Oh man.
back in the day. You ever go to a Spike Lee party?
No,
What? You in
I
Brooklyn?
I know.
What?
I was
She
in
was
the
working.
Bucks. I ain't go nowhere. I was in the Bucks.
Okay.
for
All
real.
right. Well,
Yeah.
shout out to your parents.
I guess so.
It was worth it. Look where you at, Dominique.
Word. Yeah.
There'll be another Spike Lee party. Maybe you'll work with Spike Lee. Who knows? Right? I can see that. Anthony has done so much from Transformers, from his whole career, you
Yeah.
know, and he's a magnificent individual. His brother's always with him.
Yeah.
Great guy, really kind person, but he plays the supervillain, the hood, right? What was it like working with Anthony and just seeing him in this role? And were y'all able to bond, you know, just being in this?
Absolutely. Man, working with Anthony, and it's crazy that I only just told him this, like, in the midst of the press run. But working with Anthony is insane. Like, as a theater kid coming up out of New York, it felt like we were all rooting and cheering for him. We all saw him, you know, since his off-Broadway days, you know, in playing Usnavi and really just taking off after that. Like, so just following the journey closely. He's also really close friends. We have a mutual friend, Dominique Fishback. They did Transformers together. She and I came up in the same theater company in New York.
Oh,
so
wow.
that was also like a beautiful New York full circle moment. So to get to work with him finally was like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, we're really doing this. And he is, as I'm sure you know, he is a character. He's hilarious. He's just such good energy. It's hard not to laugh, you know, and to lean into all these very serious, you know, scenes with him. But I also think that's why it's perfect, because he brings so much charisma to this hood and really makes a compelling offer for Riri Williams. You know, I think we can tell Riri would very quickly shut it down if it wasn't for him saying something, if it wasn't for him making a whole lot of sense. You know? So I think it's beautiful casting, perfect casting, and I couldn't imagine a better person to go on this ride with.
Absolutely, man. That's our guy, right?
Yeah, sharing so much about Anthony, and then you mentioned Dominique and different things. You being from New York, and then we have other big cities. People come out here, possibly Chicago. A lot of people are now working from the Atlanta area. But for folks that are not from that area, that dream, aspire to make it, how would you suggest they go about possibly getting recognized? Because there aren't any off-Broadway plays in Iowa, you know, or Nebraska, and they can't get an agent, you know. What would you suggest? You know, and it may, just throw it out there. It may not work for everybody, but what are some of the things that you can possibly tell someone listening now in the Midwest, possibly?
I remember I used to ask my teachers that all the time, and they would say, just be involved. And I've definitely found that to be true, like kind of heeding their advice and attempting to do that. That's how I met Dominique, you know, just being involved, whatever it looks like, because it's going to start at home. That's the beginning of this conversation for real. But I think whatever the local arts community, theater community, whatever your respective medium is, like whatever that community looks like in Iowa, be involved. You know what I mean?
Big facts.
Just practice your craft. Practice, do it. Look for opportunities to do it. Do it yourself, you know? One of my friends had to remind me that I was making short films and directing on campus. I forgot about that. You know what I mean? I really did. I really forgot. And she had to remind me, you know, it's like, just doing anything you can. I was taking stage makeup classes, just anything to just be connected and be involved. And from there, the opportunities will find you. And when they do find you, you'll be prepared.
You'll be
I
ready.
agree. That's solid. That's solid.
Listen,
work right
man, this opportunity found you.
Oh,
Come on, right?
hell yeah.
Yeah. You didn't audition, right?
No, I didn't.
there. She was ready, though. She was ready.
Amen.
But to your point, you said you put everything into every audition. It was because of a previous audition that you were considered for this role, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you got to give your best no matter what.
What?
Exactly.
And in God's timing, you'll find your place, right?
The timing is sweet.
Dominique Thorne, man. Give her a big round of applause.
this was awesome.
This is great, man. Disney Plus, you got another one.
Yes, sir.
Marvel, you got another one. You got a winner.
Another one.
Come on, Ironheart, available now on Disney Plus. Do you still get the party, go out, or they recognize you too
Oh,
much?
we going out? What?
Oh, bro.
Absolutely. I told you I wasn't outside then. I'm outside now.
There you go. All right.
She did them books already. She
All
put
right.
that work in, homie.
Okay, look for Dominique. She's outside. All right. Okay. Thank you for coming through. Congratulations. Okay.
having me.
Absolutely. Come back anytime.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Sway the Morning Shade 45 with Heather B and Tracy G. Yo, play a beat, Tyler.
Dominique got bars?
Wait, hold on.
Oh,
No,
Whoa.
no.
Oh.
Wait, stop.
Whoa. You said play a beat.
Excuse me?
Yo.
Why you said play a beat versus play a song?
I don't know. I thought Dominique might. She said she hangs around with Dominique Fishback, who
is
does
crazy.
poetry.
Uh-huh.
I know they have a whole
What is
scene
going
about
on
Bonnie
right
and
now?
Clyde. You know,
I don't know what's
see,
happening.
you got
Hey,
bars?
I don't know
hey,
what's going on.
monologue
You got-
bars.
Oh my God. What?
got
How did we
some?
get into this?
Because he said play a beat.
Sway in the morning on the radio. Got
Hey.
me sitting down. I don't even know. Ooh, there's a beat coming.
during that break and
Oh, shoot, let me see what's happening. What happened? What,
Oh,
turn
it's
it
gone,
up,
it's gone, it's
man.
gone. It's gone. Hey!
Turn the beat
God's
down.
timing! God's timing!
Dominique
It
Thorne.
breaks
Give her a
my
big round of applause, man. We'll be right back. Shade 45.
I just thought she had bars, yo. I felt something.